apartheid to the time of his death, he was amongst the world's most admired people. Mandela inspired songs, poems, sculptures, movies, and drawings. A lot of artists were equally drawn to the man and also what he stood for. Elizabeth Alexandra, a poet, once wrote a poem for Nelson Mandela, which had the lines, "Nelson Mandela is with me because I believe in symbols. Symbols bear power." As a child in the 80s in Nigeria, it will be hard to forget Majek Fashek's music, Free Nelson Mandela, from his I&I Experience album.
NTA International News.
President Muhammadu Buhari joins other world leaders to attend the 2016 Business for Africa Summit in Egypt. INEC set for rerun elections across 8 states of the Federation. Niger Republic on high alert ahead of general elections. ECOWAS observer mission sensitizes members on conduct. And Nigerian Professional Football League set to kick off 2015-2016 season this weekend as the International Association of Athletics Federation threatens to ban Kenya. Hello there, it's good to have you join us on NTA International News at this time. My name is Mwadi Elubike. President Muhammadu Buhari has left Abuja for Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt on a 2-day official visit. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the president is expected to participate in the Business for Africa, Egypt and the World Forum on Saturday. The event, organized by the Egyptian government under the auspices of the African Union Commission, is aimed at accelerating private sector investments and promoting African ties and partnerships for the development of the continent. President Buhari is among the few African leaders billed to address participants at the forum. He is being accompanied by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyama, and that of Trade and Investment, Okechukwu Enelama. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has called on traditional rulers in the country to raise a strong voice of condemnation against those who have stolen public funds and engaged in corruption capable of crippling the country. He made the call in a meeting with a group of traditional rulers and leaders of the Remo land, Ogun State, who paid him a courtesy visit. State House correspondent Jide Onifade has the details.
As noted by the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, the kind of corruption the country experienced in the recent past is the kind that in any other part of the world would be considered a crime against humanity. He noted that the kind of corruption that has been observed in the country is one for which people should be ashamed. According to him, since traditional rulers do not belong to any political party and as leaders, this act should be condemned in strong terms by them. Vice President Osinbajo told the delegation led by the Akaribu of Remo Line, Oba Michael Adeniyi Shunariwo, that the Buhari administration is fully committed to the anti-corruption crusade, and going forward, the determination of government is to ensure that people know that corruption has consequences, and both serving and those that have served will be held to account. He stated that the anti-corruption fight is hinged on transparency and that government is trying to put in place a system that ensures that there is consequence for wrongdoings so that the people being served, especially the very poor, are not treated like animals. Earlier in his remarks, the Akaribu of Remoland, Oba Michael Shunariwo, commended the government of President Muhammadu Buhari for its anti-corruption policies. Also, the Vice President met a delegation from the Nigerian Association for Energy Economics. He expressed that it was strategic for professionals as well as members of the energy economics to always join in the energy debate and render their expert advice to government, adding that President Buhari's administration is transparent and open, and thus would also make government to be accountable. In the State House, Jide Olifade, NTA News.
Nigerian and Chinese governments have indicated interest to extend relations to the water sector. This was when Minister of Water Resources Suleiman Adamu received the Chinese ambassador to Nigeria, Gu Xiaojie, in his office in Abuja. Musbao Danwahab reports.
46 years down the bilateral joining, China is still considered one of Nigeria's closest allies and partners. And lately, meetings between their two leaders are pointers to the fact that the nations are not giving up yet in growing their bilateral trade and strategic cooperation. Now, one as a handshake is a new desire to expand the partnership to the water sector, with Nigeria for now utilizing only 10% of about 3.1 million hectares of irrigable land. Water Resources Minister Suleiman Adamu believes Nigeria, longing to make agriculture a flagship program, can learn from the Chinese model.
So there's a huge potential for irrigation development in Nigeria, and we welcome any kind of partnership and support from our friends.
Nigeria is also striving towards solving her power challenge by building more hydropower stations. The Chinese ambassador says his country is willing to support in this direction.
A lot of irrigated or fertile lands yet to be tapped, we need more conditions like the security and also finance and infrastructure, but potentials are there.
The Water Resources Minister and the Chinese ambassador say the two countries, one the biggest economy in Africa and the other the second biggest in the world, have a lot of experiences to share. In Abuja, Musbao Danwahab, NTA News.
Still on international relations, African countries are being encouraged to synergize in formulating, implementing and evaluating policies and programs in science and technology towards lifting Africa from its present state of underdevelopment to a technological advanced continent. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday reports that this came to the fore at an interactive session between the Minister of Science and Technology and two African envoys.
I would like to use this opportunity to call on all African countries.
The minister, while playing host to the Rwandan High Commissioner to Nigeria, Stanislas Kamanzi, urged other African countries to make science and technology the fulcrum of their national development plans.
Once we start emphasizing science and technology, we'll be in a position to now add value to the enormous natural resources which we have to promote trade amongst African countries.
Ambassador Stanislas Kamanzi wants Nigeria to continue to play a big broader role in Africa.
Express our wish to see opportunities for partnership, quick connections between the ministry and our Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Youth and Technologies and Communication Technologies.
Similarly, the former Prime Minister of Guinea, Lansana Koyate, after an interaction with Dr. Onu, expressed the desire of foreign entrepreneurs to invest in Nigeria because of the conducive business environment being created by the Buhari-led administration.
It's a very wide. Cerberus Capital Management is investing in almost all areas. The first office is already open in Africa. It is in Egypt. The second office will be in Abuja, spreading to the other African countries. We have to have some officers in Egypt, in Nigeria, and in South Africa. But
Mr. Koyate says Nigeria is the largest market in Africa with high returns on investment. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, has led a 15-kilometer routine march for annual physical fitness tests for the personnel with a challenge to sustain their combat efficiency. Defense correspondent Mohammed Abdul Qadir reports.
The personnel of the Nigerian Army, drawn from Army Headquarters, Defense Headquarters and other formations in Abuja, doing what they know how to do best.
It is part of the training forecast for the year, and participation is compulsory, prompting the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Buratai, to command and commend the parade.
These troops are physically fit. My directive for everybody to trim down has been complied 100%.
The route march turned out to be a show of force and deterrent to criminal elements to keep off. Over 1,000 personnel of the Nigerian Army in Abuja proved their eligibility as well as physical, mental and medical fitness in the annual PT, ready to render service for the country. In Abuja, Muhammad Abdelkader, NTA News.
And the Catholic bishops of Nigeria have charged Nigerians and the government to intensify effort in promoting peace and human rights protection in Nigeria and across the globe. The bishops gave the charge in a communique issued at the end of the Catholic Bishops' Conference for the year 2016 held at the Holy Cross Catholic Church, Gwarimpa, Abuja. Obegeli Ugwoke completes the story.
In a communique titled Catholic Church Promoting Mercy, Social Justice and Peace, the conference dwelt on issues affecting the church and Nigeria as a nation. It's recommended that government should work hard in the areas of promoting a better quality of life for all, the right to work and the dignity for labor.
We know with dismay the glaring inequality in our society. The poor, who have equal rights to benefit from the wealth of the nation, have continued to experience lack of basic human needs. We need to diversify our economy and invest more in grassroots economic infrastructure.
On the state of the nation, the bishops lauded the efforts of the present administration and the military in degrading insurgency and fighting corruption in Nigeria.
People keep saying we want peace. But peace costs effort. The first effort of peace is, of course, justice. Where there is no justice, there will be anger, there will be people who will be disgruntled, and before you know where you are, they are throwing stones and carrying bombs.
The program was concluded with special prayers for the government to succeed in providing good governance. Obegeli Ugwoke, NTA News.
You are watching the news on NTA International. There will be more news after this timeout. Do stay with us.
If you hear a bomb explosion or gunshots of an active shooter, that might be a terror attack. At such times, always remember 3 action words. Run, hide, report. Don't try to run towards the terror scene to save the situation, because there might be a second bomb blast or another attack. Run far away and take cover. Make sure you are safe first. Yes, it is in our nature to sympathize over the hurt, but remember, only trained personnel can help in such situations. When in a secured environment, promptly call relevant authorities and help will come. For anonymous reporting, call 09630-3250-5 or 0813-2222-106. If you see something, say something. Nigeria unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Information is power. Everyone wants power. So feel powerful with the NTA News mobile app, the one-stop information center. Real news at your fingertip. Be the first to report by uploading first-hand information on the You Report link, and be the first to know by simply clicking on any of the links on the sidebar for headlines, domestic and foreign news, economy, security, politics, sports, and more. Stream live on your smartphone and tablets and stay connected. It's pretty easy. Simply download NTA News app from your Google Play Store and you're good to go. NTA News mobile app, your access to real-time information.
NTA International News. Africa as it is.
Nice to know you're still there. The National Population Commission says it is partnering with the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, to tackle the challenge of low level of birth registration, which stands at 30% in the country. The chairman of the National Population Commission, Ezeduri Homa, made this known while briefing journalists on the Commission's preparedness to commence field work on Phase 2 enumeration area demarcation across the country. Olajide Bello reports.
The enumeration area demarcation, according to the MPC chairman, Ezeduru Hiama, will take place in one local government area each in the designated 29 states across the country. He said the EAD and its distribution is required for census planning, particularly the deployment of personal logistics and materials for the pre-test, trial census, the main census, and post-enumeration survey.
I want to emphasize that the importance of the present EAD goes beyond the conduct of the next census, as it will provide the national framework for future censuses and surveys in this country.
Fielding questions from newsmen, Ezeduru Hiama affirmed that the Commission is adopting meticulous, scientific and gradual approach that will allow for practical experimentation, methodology and necessary adjustments in implementation and flexibility. To ensure commitment and accountability as well as avoid interference, the Commission has deployed 1,214 staff of the Commission as field officers. MPC chairman therefore appealed to states and local government councils, traditional institutions and communities to support the Commission in carrying out the 2017 census enumeration area demarcation by allowing unfettered access to facilities and places demarcated for the exercise. In Abuja, Olajide Bello, NTA News.
News from the financial sector is next with Muplang Dakok.
Nigeria's currency, the Naira, extended its fall to a record low of over 400 Naira on the parallel market since Thursday. It exchanged for 400 Naira to a dollar on Thursday and between 402 to 405 Naira on Friday as demand for the dollar increased amid a plunge in global crude oil prices. The federal government has received 2.6 billion Naira into a special account in the Central Bank of Nigeria from the suspension of petrol subsidy and the adoption of price modulation from January. The former executive secretary of Petroleum Products Pricing Regulatory Agency, Farouk Ahmed, who revealed this while handing over, added that petrol may cost less in the second quarter of this year. Points of sale POS in Nigeria recorded transactions worth 46 billion Naira in 3.6 million transactions at the end of January this year. This is less than the 53 billion Naira recorded in December. Representatives of the Electronic Payment Providers Association of Nigeria and the Nigeria Interbank Settlement System, who gave the data, say electronic payment is still not patronized by many Nigerians, but 100% increase is expected next year. Muplang Dakok, NTA News.
On the political scene, rerun in Okiwe senatorial seats, Isialambano, Oru East and Owerri West state constituencies in Imo State have been postponed. INEC said they cannot guarantee the safety of voting materials at the voting arena. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, will this Saturday conduct 22 court-ordered rerun elections across 8 states of the Federation. Timothy Yusuf tells us more.
A breakdown of the rerun elections by INEC indicates that the elections include 4 senatorial, 3 federal constituencies, and 15 state constituencies across Benue, Kaduna, Plateau, Niger, Nasarawa, Kogi, Taraba, and Imo states. Senatorial elections will be conducted in Benue South, Imo North, Kogi Central, and Kogi East. Federal constituency elections will hold in Okene Ogori-Magongo of Kogi State, Lafia Obi of Nasarawa State, and Kurmi Sadauna of Taraba State. The 15 state constituency elections will be conducted across Imo, Kaduna, Kogi, Plateau, Niger, and Taraba states. The constituencies are Isiala-Mbano, Oru East, and Owerri West for Imo State. In Kaduna State, elections will hold in Lere West. For Kogi, it includes Ofu, Ankpa 1, Ida, Dekina 1, and Dekina 2. In Niger State, the election will hold only in Suleja. That of Plateau holds in Lantang South, Pangshin South, and Pangshin North. In Taraba State, it will be in Ado, Kola, and Mbamga. Meanwhile, INEC says preparations are in top gear to ensure a hitch-free mini-elections.
In Plateau State, there was a court order restraining the commission and insisting that a particular candidate should be included in the election, as a result of which the election for that particular constituency has been postponed. We have done the needful in terms of training the staff that we are deploying, in terms of engaging with the stakeholders involved in the elections. We have also publicized the elections as much as possible.
In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Still on elections, and this time Niger, ECOWAS has reiterated its commitment to supporting member states financially and technically, as well as with observations during elections. It is for this reason that the regional body brought all members of the observer mission to the Republic of Niger to brief them on the political situation and stakes of the election before posting them out to their various states across the region. Lia Katumba Batunde in Niamey reports.
The Republic of Niger comprises 8 regions: Niamey, Tahua, Agadez, Dosso, Difa, Tillaberi, Zinda, and Maradi. Out of these, the ECOWAS observer team will not be in Difa and Agadez due to uncertain security situations in both regions. The Commission is leaving no stone unturned as it arms observers with the necessary methodology in its plan to effectively assess and support the general elections.
One can only pursue one's political aspiration in an environment of peace and stability. And so that has to be foremost in the minds of all of the people, the political parties, the contestants. Also that there would be within this country the individuals and institutions of standing, of high standing, that can mediate and ensure dialogue.
Observers are briefed on the electoral provisions of the land as well as safety procedures.
It's an election that is very important for the consolidation of democracy in Niger, and that all stakeholders should give their support and cooperate so that we have a very successful election.
The observer team says it is aware of disagreements between political parties and advised they put the country first.
The outcome will also, to a large extent, impact the socio, economic, political, and security order of the region, given the country's strategic position in the region.
This election is history waiting to be made as President Mamadou Issoufou faces opposition from 14 other candidates. He was first elected in 2011 after the ouster of Mamadou Tandja in 2010. In Niamey, Leah Katimbabatunde, NTA News.
Time now for sports. The 2015-2016 season of the Nigerian Professional Football League set to kick off weekend as the International Association of the Athletic Federation threatens to ban Kenya. Ayodeji Makinde tells us more on Sports Update.
The 2017 Africa Cup of Nations Day 3 qualifying match between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and the Pharaohs of Egypt will now take place at the Ahmadu Bello Stadium, Kaduna, on Friday, March the 25th. This decision followed a mail sent to the Nigeria Football Federation by the Confederation of African Football midweek that Nigeria should endeavor to